I know I haven't recorded a video in quite a little bit, but I'm here, I'm back, I'm recording and making up for what I've lost. So, I'm back. I cut bangs. I know, I said get mad at me if I freaking cut my hair. So, I am rerouting a little bit and I'm gonna tell a story time just to branch out a little bit. Just kind of give you like another insight of my life, of just like one of the random things that has happened to me. I made a whole list of things I could tell stories about and I landed on that time I got stranded in the middle of the city. I hope you stick around for the story, and if you make it to the end, let me know. If you don't, peace. For context, I was a first year in college. This was probably like the third day of classes ever for me. The college classes that I was taking were not on main campus. It was like a 15-20 minute drive away. We would take something called a shuttle bus to and from each campus instead of us having to drive cars and stuff. Just make it easier for us. Being in class, I came out of class and I had been getting on the shuttle buses to and from main campus to my campus, which was again like 15-20 minutes away. It had only been a couple days, a couple different types of buses that they would like interchange. So there was one that had like leather seats, there was one that had like really cushiony bouncy seats. It kind of looked like you were inside of like an airplane. And then the other one looked like a metro bus. On the third day of classes, I came out and I was, with my backpack on, ready to go back to my dorm, eat some food, see my roommate, go hang out with friends, just have a good time after class. When I was walking to the bus stop, I was like, huh, that shuttle bus has like the words on the top say like the destination, and it said main campus. So I was like, oh, perfect, we're going to main campus. So I walked over and I stepped up onto the bus and they were like, $2 please. And I was like, do we have to pay? I was like, did I just like get out of it the first couple times? Like, do we really have to pay? So then I was like, oh, I don't have cash on me right now. And she was like, oh, well, either pay up or get out. And I kind of just stood there for a second and I was like, and I got onto my phone to be like, do you take like Apple Pay? She was like, no. And then I was just kind of standing there for a minute and then this lovely girl came up to me and she was like, here, I got you. She handed that girl $2 for me and I sat down next to her and I was like, thank you so much. Everyone that was on there were kids my age. Like, we were all going back to main campus is what I thought. Literally said like my college Maine. So I was like, okay, perfect. Like that's where we're going. Everyone had their backpacks on except for this one guy that was sitting in the back of the bus. He didn't have a bag. He didn't get on the bus with everyone else. Like, he was already there. We took off. We started driving. Like, I want to say about 10 minutes into the drive, we stop and I was a bit confused. I was like, okay, well, maybe we're just like having a little pit stop. So I was like, I didn't think about it until I saw a bus stop and I was like, oh, okay, maybe there's just some kids from campus getting off here. Nobody got off. And instead of nobody getting off, someone got on. The person that got on was a bit under the influence. They tried to step up onto the bus and they misstepped and they went back and they fell. I felt really bad for the guy, but he started getting really angry at the bus driver because he wasn't paying her to get on the bus and she was like, you can't get on unless you pay, and he was, yelling profanity. He was on the bus. He ended up getting on it, walking back, and then she was like, you need to give me your money or else you have to get off. He was not having it. He started talking to my peers, being like, this woman is crazy. He did end up getting off and we just took off again like nothing happened. Ever since we made that stop, we would stop every about 2 minutes down the road. I had left my class at like 11 in the morning. By the time we were like 25 stops like down the road, I was like, how long have I been on this bus and how long am I going to stay on this bus? So then I checked my phone and I realized that an hour and a half has passed already, and I was like, oh my gosh, like we have been on this bus for so long. It was 12:30 and I was like, I just want to go home and eat some food. I was like, there's nothing I can do about it. The shuttle buses weren't gonna come back and pick me up. Like, if I wanted to get on a shuttle bus, I would have to be back at one of the campuses, and I was somewhere in between. At the time, I didn't have phone service. I was able to like text and call people, but I couldn't use any other apps on my phone. Eventually, we got somewhere that was like kind of close to campus. I was like, okay, like my stop's gonna be soon, like we'll be back soon. But then we like rerouted or something, and we started going like further away from campus, and I was like, oh, where am I going? Like, I thought we were going to main campus. It said on the top of the bus, main campus. So then we just kept going, we kept stopping, we kept going, we kept stopping, and I was like, by the time I realized that we were getting further from main campus, I realized how far I really was. And when I checked, like, on my maps, that's also another app that I could use at the time. But I checked my maps, and I was, like, a 15-minute drive away from main campus, like, just by regular car, not by that bus. So I was like, okay, I need to get off now, or I'm gonna keep getting further away from campus. The place I decided to stop, like, I could have waited longer, but I was honestly just scared that if I kept going further, then I would have less of a chance of actually getting back to my main campus, because wherever I was gonna get dropped off at, how was I gonna get back other than walking? So I was like, I have to get off now or else I'm not going to get back. I got off the bus, and when I got off the bus, I was on a corner. On this corner, there was a good amount of like abandoned buildings, and around there it smelled really strongly like skunk. And that's like a normal thing in the city, like don't get me wrong, but like it felt like like when I got back to my dorm, like it felt like I was engulfed by this smell. I was like, this smell's not going to come out of my clothes, out of my hair for like days. Like, I was standing there and I was like, okay, abandoned buildings, old broken down cars. I see like random groups of people passing by, bumping music in their cars. There was a group of people down the street, and one of them, like, you know when like they have their shirt pulled up and you can tell what's there. Keep in mind, like, this area that I was in, I have an app called Citizen. I would get notifications like all the time about like pew-pewing, like offenders, and a bunch of criminal activity in this specific area. And I didn't realize I was standing right in the center of it until my phone was about to die. I was standing there and I was like, how am I going to get back? I looked at my maps, I was like, okay, maybe if I walk, I can get back to my campus. But then I was gonna have to cross a bridge, and it was whatever. And then I look at my phone, I get a notification from the weather app saying, it's about to downpour. Borderline, like, you need to go home and stay inside. Me, I was out in the open. I didn't have an umbrella. I had my backpack on from school. I was like, what is happening? My phone's about to die. I'm gonna get poured on. I'm gonna get struck by lightning. I'm in like a really not safe part of town. I was like, what am I supposed to do? This on top of this, I would have just reached out to my boyfriend and been like, hey baby, can you come pick me up? He was like an hour away at the time. He was not on campus. The best thing that I could do was call his roommate, and thankfully, I got an answer. And I was like, hey, I'm stranded. It's about to start pouring. My phone's about to die. I can give you my location. Please come pick me up and take me back to main campus. I was like, I'll tell you more when you get here. As soon as the phone call ended, my phone died. I was literally stranded. I was like, I have no way of contacting anyone if anything happens to me because my phone died. At the time, didn't have my Apple Watch, so I was like, okay, like, I am on survival mode, and I was right on the corner. So I was literally like in between 4 streets. There would be a couple cars passing here and there, but whenever cars would pass, they would drive kind of slow. I don't know if that was just like an anxiety thing. Maybe I was just like feeling like they were driving slow next to me. I was so paranoid. Like, it felt like everyone was just like looking at me like, who is this girl? Does she know where she's at? Like, she should probably leave. I was internally freaking out. I didn't know what to do, and I was fully convinced that I was gonna get kidnapped. I thought something bad was just going to happen. I had like this gut feeling. I was like, come on, like, please pick me up in the next like 2 minutes. Like, please just be here. There was one point where I thought he did get there. I thought he was up the street. This car is coming this way. I was like, I haven't seen a car come from that direction yet, so I feel like that could be him. It looked like his car, but then once they got like close, they ended up like swerving over and parking, but it wasn't him. And I was like, oh my god. So I was like, okay, I put my backpack back on. I was like, so I was just standing there, and I was kind of just like tapping my feet, kicking dirt, because like, what else am I supposed to do? My phone's dead. I ended up grabbing my dead phone, putting it up to my ear, and pretending like I was on the phone. The people in the car just stayed there. They didn't move. They didn't get out of the car. They didn't do anything. I was just sitting there on the phone, just being like, oh, la 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 la, proper name, place name, backstory stuff. Just like saying whatever was coming to mind to look like I was on the phone with someone. And then all of a sudden, another car comes, and I'm like, oh my god. I was like, if this car parks and it's not him, I'm done for. I was standing there, again, getting rained on. I was getting poured on. It was raining. I was getting rained on. And this car was pulling up. My hair is wet. There's water dripping down my face. I probably look like I'm from a sad movie where car's gonna splash me with a puddle. This car pulls up, and it's him. Oh my god, it's him. So then I get in the car. We leave, and I tell the story of everything that happened. I was like, oh my god, I'm never getting on that bus again. That there was like some guy on it that was under the influence and just like being a little kooky. I just wanted to go home and eat some food. It started raining and my phone died, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, this is only my first couple days of classes. Like, if this is what it's gonna be like for the rest of the year, count me out. I was like, I am not doing that. Yeah, we finally got back, and I was like, thank you so much, you're my savior. Like, I went back, I told my roommate everything that happened, and she thought it was funny. Yeah, it was pretty funny. To be honest, like, at the time, I was scared for my life. But now to think back on it, it's a pretty funny story to tell. There are so many context clues that I should have clocked and kept in mind, but none of them. Nada. I was like, you know what? New experience, just let it happen. Yeah, moral of the story, if you're expecting to get on a shuttle bus, make sure they don't ask you for money. It should be free. There's my 3rd day of college, first year college story that was really a great start to my year. So if you want to hear more stories from me, let me know. If you don't, if this one was like boring, stupid, whatever, let me know. If you're somebody that I know and you know stories about me, then feel free to tell them and remind me so that I can make a video about it. I hope you like this video, and I hope you stick around for the next one. I don't even know what I looked like throughout the entire recording.